and then finally it is disposed onto the dhapar mat, and then we get a stint, especially mechanical engineering department, we facing the dhapar mat, and we get a stint of all these things. So when you beautify your city, you have already created yet another nuisance elsewhere. Now, let us. These are all. These are all the realities of life. Our aim is to understand the components of the environment, the balancing act, the equilibrium, the different cycles which constitute the ecology, and then we shall try to understand and try to devise method by which human activities are done in such a manner that the equilibrium is restored. So out of which we were discussing in the last class, we were discussing natural cycles, out of which we had discussed about the hydrological cycle and to some extent carbon cycle, not to a great extent, but then we shall continue in the with the carbon cycle. Hydrological cycle, in brief, we can say that the water vapor evaporates from all the water bodies, oceans, seas, rivers, lakes, and all other large water bodies, small water bodies. It evaporates into the atmosphere. It coalesces and forms cloud. Once again, it comes back to the earth. Depending on where it is raining, you have you will have a groundwater source. You will have it will fall onto the mountain, and in that case, we will have gorges, dam. We can the rivers will flow. Some of the water will go deeper into the soil, and it will become a source of nourishment for the for the mankind. That hydrological cycle we have discussed. Now carbon cycle we had discussed a bit in the last class. Carbon cycle, what I had written, carbon cycle is immobilized in the earth's crust, that is fossil fuel, carbonates, etc. If you see the chain of the carbon cycle, I'll just further go on to this carbon cycle yet again. Carbon cycle, what exactly it is. As we had discussed, our the development index, or the root reasons for our development, and the crux of the matter is that we are having an electricity, right? The power, it's a and also electricity is a high quality power. We were also talking about high quality power and low quality power, whereas mechanical power is a low quality power, mechanical work is a low quality power, whereas electrical energy is a high quality of power. For example, if you had electrical engineering, electrical technology in the first or second semester maybe, then you would know that the efficiency of motor or generator is to the tune of 95%, 98%, whereas the most efficient IC engine, internal combustion engine, the most efficient internal combustion engine may be having efficiency to the tune of 35 to 36%. So actually the mechanical people are inefficient. Yeah. So jokes apart, the nature of mechanical energy it's a low quality energy, because the complete conversion of mechanical energy into work, into heat, is not possible. Now we know that the main source of pollution of the environment is basically the thermal power stations. Main source of pollution is coal-based thermal power stations. But even then, we cannot do away, in spite of the fact that we pinpoint the source of the culprit for the environmental disaster, but still we cannot do away with coal-based thermal power plant. Because of various issues, because of political pressures, because of environmental activists all over the world, because of Greta Thunberg and things like that, lots of actions are being taken. Lots of actions are being taken in the field of environmental engineering, but yet the fact of the matter remains that the coal-based thermal power stations, as of now, cannot be done away with. We cannot sustain our growth and civilization without this thermal power station. Now, what it does actually, is that the coal is being mined, it is being transported, coal is being mined, it is being transported into the thermal power station, either by wagon or by some other means. It is unloaded there. The coal is crushed. The coal is crushed into fine powdery particles, and these powdery particles are being injected into the boiler. The boiler converts the working fluid, which is water, into high pressure, high temperature steam, and then this steam goes into the steam turbine. The high pressure, high temperature steam jet is being directed onto the moving blade of the turbine. We call it steam turbine, and this steam turbine produces continuous rotation of the turbine shaft, which is the mechanical power. Now that the continuous source of mechanical power is there, now we shall call the electrical people that they know how to generate electricity. So because you know that in a magnetic field, if you rotate a conductor, a EMF is generated. So from there we shall generate electricity by coupling a generator with the constant source of mechanical power. And then after this constant source of power, the steam loses its pressure and temperature. It comes to the condenser, and the condenser, I think it is better that if I write a little bit about the thermal power station, that would be better. Coal-based thermal power station is the main source of pollution. Now, what it does actually, this is you have a boiler. This is boiler. From the boiler, you have high pressure, high temperature steam, high pressure.
Sir, some people are waiting outside.
Thank you very much for reminding me. I'll take them in. Porumbruthu Saha and two others. Mayuk Banerjee, Biswanath Prasad. Come here, gentlemen. Right. High pressure, high temperature steam it produces. Now we are giving fire here. The coal is burnt here. COAL. coal is burnt here, the fire is producing, the high pressure, high temperature goes there, and now it turbine symbol is like this. This is the turbine symbol. This is steam turbine. This is the turbine work, WT. Turbine work is there. Now, actually, here what we will do, we shall couple with a generator, and the generating station will be producing generator. This is a symbol of a generator. Okay. Now, steam turbine, therefore, you have got one component which is boiler, second component is steam turbine. After that, what we do is that the steam is rejected in a condenser. Steam is ejected in a condenser wherein the low pressure, low temperature steam is condensed. Low pressure, low temperature steam is condensed in what is called, this is a condenser. So third component of a thermal power plant is the condenser. Condenser, what it does, cold water in, and hot water out. This is the coils. Cold water coil goes inside and hot water comes out, thereby condensing the low pressure, low temperature steam into water. Now it is converted into water. This water once again is being pumped. This is called boiler feed water pump. This is once again the same water is being pumped into the boiler feed water pump. So therefore, the four basic components of a simple thermal power plant, is boiler, turbine, condenser, and the pump. This is the cycle by which thermal power plant operates. Why I am talking of this, how the thermal power plant operates? We are discussing carbon cycle, how it produces the huge amount of carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide is the concern. That is why we are discussing here coal-based thermal power plant. Now, there will be, because suppose Kolaghat thermal power plant, let us say 600 megawatt it is producing. There are 3 units, 200 megawatt each. And 200 megawatt each, it is, in order to produce that, the amount of coal that has to be fired into...
Sorry to interrupt. One friend is not being able to enter. Can you please allow him?
Yeah, sure. Subham Kumar and 3 others.
From AEIE.
Right. I got a communication from the AEI department to how many students I have not. If someone can take a lead role and kindly send me a mail as to who are the students so that I can update my records, please.
Repeat.
Okay. So these are for this thing. Now, why a major source, because in order to produce 200 megawatt of plant, the amount of coal is to be fired is enormous. Now, since the combustion phenomena, it has to happen very rapidly. At the same time, the heat is to be harnessed. All other things are there. So therefore, we in that complex environment, the possibility of incomplete combustion is very much there. That, in other words, the carbon, if it completely gets combusted, it becomes CO2, carbon dioxide, right? But if it is not, due to due to dynamic environment and various other factors, the chances of carbon monoxide getting into the atmosphere is also there. Now, carbon dioxide, we are discussing about the carbon cycle. Now, after having understood that the major source of pollution is contributed by the thermal power plant, let us explore the carbon cycle or the carbon dioxide cycle, how it is. Let us say this is CO2 reservoir. Let us say this is CO2 reservoir, carbon dioxide reservoir. Okay. Now, carbon dioxide reservoir is actually, it is taken in by the plants, carbon dioxide, by photosynthesis. Carbon dioxide, so it is taken by carbon monoxide is taken by plants through photosynthesis, and this is basically, they are the producers. This is basically producers. That means from the reservoir, it is depleted. And the depletion is the reason that the plants for the depletion of the reservoir. Whereas the coal, oil, itself, by right to carbon dioxide we are contributing. Therefore, coal, oil, etc. burn, and it goes into the, is contributing CO2 reservoir. Okay. Now these producers, the photosynthesis, apart from that, there are combustion, weathering, respiration. See, we all of are having the respiratory activities. What we do, we take in oxygen and put in the carbon dioxide. So therefore, what are the activities which further contribute to this reservoir? This we can call it respiration, weathering, volcanic activity, all these things once again contribute to the reservoir, CO2 reservoir. Now, apart from that, there are, this is the producers, and the consumers are, who are the consumers? Consumers, and finally, death plus wastes decomposes and goes to decomposers. So these are the decomposers. Decomposers producers also, they have death plus wastes. They also contribute to the decomposition, and this decomposition finally it gives rise to the CO2 reservoir once again. So this by way of decomposition, once again carbon reservoir is being replenished, and this is the carbon cycle. Words about the carbon cycle. What should we write? Okay, page number 2 plus. Lecture number 3, page number 2 plus. Now, we can write during photosynthesis. Carbon dioxide and other nutrients are absorbed by the plants. Then chemical combustion and respiratory activities or respiration, chemical combustion and respiration return the carbon to atmosphere. Also, decomposition of organic wastes. Decomposition of organic matter and wastes also contribute to carbon reservoir. Carbon dioxide reservoir. So this is the cycle we need to understand in order to have a full knowledge about the ecology. This is so two cycles we have understood so far. One is the hydrological cycle, another is the carbon cycle. Apart from that, there is another important one is called nitrogen cycle. See, C is nitrogen cycle. Nitrogen is a very important component as far as the plant growth is concerned. Nitrogen cycle, once again, it can be written like this. Here is the nitrogen. N2. This is fixed by, nitrogen is fixed by microorganism named rhizobium. R Hizobium. Nitrogen, with the help of rhizobium, it is fixed. And it forms what is called NH2. And then by ammonifying bacteria, it becomes NH3. Then it forms what is called nitrite. Nitrite NO2. With this nitrite, once again, with the help of nitrobacteria, it becomes nitrate. Formula is NO3. Now this goes and it becomes denitrification. By denitrification, this is the process, denitrification, it goes into the reservoir yet again. Now this NO2 is also without, there are some amount goes through nitrobacteria fixation, becomes nitrate, and then denitrification, it goes to the nitrogen cycle, whereas some amount of nitrite directly goes as N2O into denitrification process and further goes into the nitrogen cycle, right? So this is basically the nitrogen cycle in block diagram. We can write nitrogen is fixed. This is the explanation of this one. Nitrogen is fixed by microorganisms for example rhizobium, rhizobium, microorganism for utilization is fixed by microorganism for utilization by plants and animals also. Ammonification is the process ammonification is the process of fixation of atmospheric nitrogen into NH2 and NH3 by bacteria. This reaction, the reaction released by this bacteria, actually it produces heat which is absorbed by the bacteria for their own survival processes. The reaction releases energy which is utilized by bacteria for their survival process. So this is the nitrogen cycle. We are once again we go back to this earlier the main the argument is that we are trying to understand different cyclical processes which is a part of the ecology, so that once we understand the dynamics of these cycles, if the cycles are being disrupted by which forces, that identification of those disruptive forces or disruptive activities are once identified, then the next course of action, that is containment and prohibition of certain activities or certain legislations, may be possible only when we understand the dynamics of the various cycles that comprise our eco environment. Apart from that, we have sulfur cycle and also phosphorus cycle. So 3 we have discussed. The fourth one, page number 3 plus, make 4130, date 29/10/2021. The D is sulfur cycle. Now, in this case, the atmosphere receives sulfurs as H2S gas on reduction of the sulfates, SO4. And SO2, due to the fossil fuel burning, apart from CO2, we are also contributing what is called sulfur dioxide into the environment. And also the sulfates, due to volcanic emissions and all, the sulfates are also released into the atmosphere. The formation of these sulfates in an aerobic action and the formation of H2S is due to anaerobic decomposition. What is anaerobic? Aerobic action and anaerobic action. I'll just get back to, first of all, let us write. Atmosphere receives sulfur as H2S as H2S sulfur hydrogen sulfide gas on reduction of sulfates. Sulfates are actually naturally it is available in the environment in ores and rocks. It also receives, it means atmosphere also receives sulfur dioxide due to fossil fuel burning. For example, we were discussing about the thermal coal-based thermal power plant. There, when you burn coal, it also contributes some amount of sulfur dioxide into the atmosphere, because if we analyze the coal, we will find the coal also contains a certain amount of sulfur apart from carbon and nitrogen and moisture. So some amount of sulfur is also there. When it burns, it produces sulfur dioxide due to fossil fuel burning. It also receives sulfur dioxide as to fossil fuel burning. It receives sulfate SO4 due to volcanic eruptions. All of you know the volcanic eruptions, the Earth's core is still hot. Hot melted lava is being pressurized, and wherever the Mother Earth is a little lenient or there is a weakness on this point, the Mother Earth yawns a little and then the volcano happens. So in this process, the sulfur dioxide is also being emitted into the atmosphere. Sulfur cycle, and there is another one called phosphorus cycle. Phosphorus, although it is needed by a very small quantity, but it is also very much needed for the growth of any living tissues. Living tissues in the sense that it may be plant or it may be animal, but the importance of phosphorus cannot be denied for the growth of living tissues in plants and animals. So it is fixed in the soil also and is utilized by the plants as energy carriers for their life metabolic processes. You know, uh, so we can write phosphorus is a very important nutrient for the growth what's the time now? Oh, I think, is there anybody waiting? Manish is waiting in the lobby for since how long? Oh dear, Manish, come on. Phosphorus is a very important nutrient for the growth of living cells. It is fixed in soil and is utilized by the plants as energy carriers for their metabolic processes. So all these cycles that we have discussed so far, they are self-regulating and also energy dependent, and the balancing actions does takes place. For example, in whenever, because the whole cycle actually follow a certain mathematical rule or the natural rule, natural phenomena. So based on that, it has got its tendency. Whenever there is a disbalance, Mother Earth tried to fix it by adjusting somewhere else. I mean, because each and every action has got its consequences. So based on that, it tries to naturally recover the process. Now, apart from these cycles, there will be, at every stage, there will be certain amount of energy flow that will be happening. Apart from these cycles, if we understand, if we see that whenever you pass through a process, some amount of energy transfer and mass transfer will take place. Okay. Because of this energy and mass transfer, the changes from one component to another, one compound to another, is only possible by that process. So we have, while we take cognizance of the equilibrium of these cycles, we also have to take a cognizance of the energy flow that is happening during these processes also. Okay. So this is all. I think we shall end it here. In any way, there are only 2 minutes left for the time to complete. So we shall end it here, and we shall continue in the next class. In case You have got any questions? Else, we shall close the class here itself. I'm sorry, I have not sent the lecture 1 and lecture 2 class notes yet. Lecture 1, lecture 2 and lecture 3, I shall do it right now. I shall send it across to you just now. Okay. Thank you very much for attending the class. Goodbye for now. We meet on Monday. Thank you.